What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 ways to stand out in a crowded industry. And like always, I got my man, Always Qureshi, in the house to help me co-host. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, Henry?
Dude,
Yet another topic that just really just gets people going, right?
well, listen, if you're constantly struggling with articulating your value, if you're not getting seen by the right people, if your funnels are getting clogged with unqualified leads, there's a problem. And we need to fix that problem by being able to stand out in a way that people are going to recognize us
Yeah.
as the obvious choice. And there's some certain ways that you could do that, and it's not as hard as you think. So we're going to dive in deep right after this quick little message. If you're a business owner who feels your branding isn't truly representing the value that you deliver, check out this free video training that will help you level up your brand's messaging and online presence so that you can start attracting higher quality clients. Visit www.uniquedesignz with a Z at the end, not an S, .net/level up my branding. All right, so the first way to stand out in a crowded industry is
Specialize.
man, I'm telling you, it's that simple. If you become known for a specialization, there's a lot of benefits to that.
Absolutely.
Now, you've
Yes.
mentioned that there was a entrepreneur article that you bumped into today about Elon Musk. And it's pretty relevant to this conversation because one of the things that I started to specialize in over the years of evolving my design agency was branding people. I like branding people. I love taking somebody who's, got a passion and a real drive to help people with their expertise, but they don't know how to design it. And so I just had so much passion over the years designing my own brand, designing my own personal brand, that I feel very confident in helping other people do that. And that's where I specialize. So if you need to design yourself, right, and brand yourself and create and package your brand identity as a coach, as a doctor, as a lawyer, as a service provider, and the business revolves around you, that's my wheelhouse, right? And you were talking about this entrepreneur ad or article earlier about Elon Musk and how he's been able to do
Yeah.
that, very successfully and very intentionally. So you want to talk about that article real quick?
Yeah, and again, just in a nutshell, they were talking about how he was ousted from his earlier companies. I mean, on one occasion, he was fired while he was away, fired as a CEO while he was away on vacation. So he became very intentional moving forward when he founded Tesla or when he founded SpaceX or any of the other companies that he's involved with. Um, that he wanted to make sure that his personal brand is inextricably linked with his personal brand,
Mhm.
and that's indicative of how he operates today. He'll go on Twitter and move markets,
Yeah.
right? So that is, that is a testament to how strong a personal brand and how far a personal brand can go. And of course, I mean, he is an influential figure.
Mhm.
However, he has done it very intentionally. He no longer wants to repeat the mistakes of the past, where he's not as valuable as the brand of his company.
Mm. Mm.
So
It's huge.
that is, for many of many of those that are in the audience that are perhaps running a business, very much like myself.
Mhm.
I built a really good business of creative services and branding for B2B companies, but I didn't have my personal brand.
Mhm.
That's when Henry came into the picture for me, right? So
True.
that's where I would say that there's still a significant amount of improvement, but I mean, at the end of the day, I felt that it was really important for me to step forward and make sure that I was looking at as the expert,
Mhm.
and
Excellent.
I'm no longer behind the scenes. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, listen, you've come such a long way over the past year of getting yourself out there more on video and just social media in general, to really start to evolve the brand around you, um, but not losing the autonomy of the business, which is
exactly,
very, very important, right? You want to have.
absolutely.
All right. The second way to stand out in a crowded market is, and this is a long-winded way of saying it, but participate in densely populated areas where your ideal clients are congregating, i.e., these underserved communities or these niches in particular mastermind groups. As an example, I'll give you a quick example. I have a client who works with real estate investors, right? And in his marketing budget, he spends zero on paid ads or any of that nonsense. What he does is he spends upwards of $30,000 to $40,000 a year and joins these mastermind groups where all these real estate investors hang out. And he serves that community with what he does. And all of those guys and gals need him. And so he goes in there as the only guy that does what he does and pulls 15, 20 clients out of each mastermind and pays himself back, 10x the 30, 40 grand that he invested in those mastermind groups. And that's being very intentional. So,
Yeah,
I've done that in Russell Brunson's inner circle group back in the day, where I would go in there and I was really the only guy that had the design chops um, in that space. And most of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, said, Henry, I need you to, give me a facelift, and my funnels need facelifting. Um, can you make me over? And that's where I got a lot of my business from, is those underserved niche communities.
yeah.
Now you're in one that, well, I wouldn't necessarily call it underserved, but you're in a community that has done right by you over the past couple of years as well.
Oh, absolutely. And that one is really it's a peer advisory board for business
Mm.
owners and CEOs. And yeah, Vistage is the name of that particular group. And yeah, I mean, same thing, right? Like, yes, there are all the different chapters or different groups that have someone that has a marketing seat, but now you have access to an entire community of business owners. There are membership forums where you can log into and really use that as a sounding board, not just your own existing group, but a much larger network of people that are perhaps much further out than you, that you can just tap into and access their expertise, access their ability to look at their business and start getting to look at your business in an entirely different way. Entrepreneurs Organization is another one. I get invited to their events from time to time, and just talking to those is purely business owners that you're surrounded by. And some of these guys, they're running a $50 million plus company, and to capture that type of intel
Mhm.
more, right, and that sort of a mindset, I mean, it's invaluable.
Yeah. Well, think about and the proximity, right? Being in the
Exactly.
proximity of these folks,
Yeah.
right? I would much rather hire somebody that that I have access to, that I don't have to go find, than
That's right.
going out and trying to find that service provider. And I think that's where
Exactly.
these groups come into
Yeah.
play here, where
That face-to-face contact and that, just, I mean, that interpersonal contact is
it's huge.
essential.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's huge.
huge.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about way number 3 on how to stand out in a crowded industry. And this may be obvious to some of you guys, but maybe not. But investing in your identity.
Really? That's a good way to stand out?
I
Who would have thought?
You don't know how many times people have reached out to me and said the brand doctor brand is so freaking memorable. Some call it gimmicky. Some call it kind of but man, does it stick, right?
Yeah.
It is a very sticky brand identity, and it works because it's the way that I serve clients, prescribe, diagnose, prescribe, implement, or apply. Like, it makes sense, and it's a lot easier to communicate my value that way, right? Years ago, I branded this woman out of Colorado. She helped franchisees get into the right franchise for their lifestyle. So we branded her the franchise op expert, and she went on, and it was Fox, FOX, right? And it was very branded to Colorado and where she's from, but also had this premium top-notch feel because those were the types of clients she was, serving. These people had net worths of millions of dollars, and she really needed to look the part, but it was easy for her to get out there and ref- re- re- reference herself as the franchise op expert. How about the backyard expert? We're working with a landscape company right now, and over the past couple of years, and he came up with the backyard expert, which I thought was brilliant.
Wow.
Because he's going to tell you the do's and don'ts of your backyard when it comes to landscapes and hardscapes and water features and all of that. So it makes your life a lot easier from a communication standpoint when you invest in your brand identity.
Definitely. Definitely. And again, from a visual perspective, each one of the visual elements that I bet you use, in all three examples, gives off a certain sense of either elite or luxury sort of a feel.
Mhm.
Typically, what I like to ask a client is, what three words do you want to come to mind when someone visits your website, or
Mm,
when someone sees your business card, or whatever it is.
mm,
That really creates that builds that story.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So there's some homework for you guys. What are three words that you want to be remembered by? Right. All right. Number 4, leverage your credibility. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of you guys are sitting on a tremendous amount of expertise and credibility, but you're not leveraging it. I remember, for example, working with Russell back in the day, and he was like, "Dude, you brand like $1 million businesses, so we should call you like the $1 million brander." And again, that kind of plays along with what we just talked about, invest in your identity. But he was like, "You have a lot of credibility behind you. For Christ's sake, you helped John Bon Jovi brand his fan club, right?" And I was like, "Holy shit, he's right." Like, I'm not leveraging my credibility. Think about the two Comma Club awards, the two Comma Club awards that are sitting behind me. I don't really, sometimes I don't really like to talk about them because they are what they are, right? But everyone keeps telling me, like, all right, it's easy to get one, but how the hell did you get two? And there's people out there that have multiple, more than two, right? Telling that story builds your credibility. Helping your clients 10x their revenues, like I've been able to do over and over and over again with some clients. Huge credibility that I'm guilty. I don't necessarily leverage it as much as I should. How about you, Oase?
Yeah, I mean, there's always tremendous opportunities everywhere when it comes to expressing and leverage, like you said, leveraging your credibility. Um, this is probably the first year where I'm going to be doing a speaking engagement in front of this many people. This is large for me, particularly.
Mhm.
So about 60, 70 people in that room, all investment bankers. And it was just a matter of, again, it was a combination of a couple of the points that we made today, particularly an underserved or underrepresented market. And I went in there as a branding firm, and happened to raise my hand and ask the right question. And they approached me and asked if I would be interested in uh,
Speaking.
giving up in a presentation. Yeah. And so it was, you know, going into that sort of a setting and leveraging your expertise, getting them to think differently, again, is one of those components that is invaluable. And then, of course, press release, being a contributor, help a reporter out is Haro.
Harrow.
Haro, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really cool platform to go into and see. Okay, well, how can I contribute to someone's story here, and then they can link it back to me. And
Mhm.
then again, you use that as an opportunity to put that on social media. Oh yeah, I've been featured in this particular article. They quoted me on this.
Mhm. Excellent.
Very
Harrow. So
simple.
that's like a hidden gem. I don't think there's a lot of people that use it, but like if you're a personal brand, um, this is like gold. You know what I mean? This is stuff that people aren't typically using for personal branding, right? Which could lead to a lot of business.
Yeah,
Last but not least, guys, the last way to stand out in a crowded market is to raise your damn prices. Like if you're going to compete in a crowded market, then compete at the highest level, right? I forget who said it. It was like Dan Kennedy or something. Like somebody said that like if you're going to compete, make sure that you're the most expensive out of the two, or out of the bunch, because that's going to send a message, right? And you make a good point here. It's all about your positioning. Do you want to look
yeah,
premium or do you want to look discounted?
yeah,
There's no right or wrong. I'm not saying being, positioning yourself as an affordable or discounted business or service provider is a bad thing. I'm not saying that. I tend to lean towards more of the premium side of things. It's just
yeah,
my style. It's the way that I want to do business.
yeah.
Um, but raising your prices and creating that position for yourself is going to really help you stand out more than almost any of these that we just talked about today.
That's right. And if you're going to go the premium route, hire Henry to put together a really cool new design, and that makes you look premium. You had better be ready to own that,
True. I mean,
right?
it's got to feel good on you, right? It's
Yeah,
like buying a tailored suit, right? When you put that thing on, you want to feel like $1,000,000. And that's the key. There's so many people out there that are selling these high ticket offers, but we talked about this last week in nauseum,
yeah,
but all these people that are putting out these high ticket offers, but they're just not positioned properly. And, they look cheap and amateur, but they're demanding these higher prices. And subconsciously, it's just like a disconnect. People just are
yeah,
like, I don't trust you. I mean, I'm guilty of it. The first thing I do
yeah,
is judge the identity of the the brand.
yeah. And you can't help it. Look, that is a subconscious process that takes place in all our minds. So this whole like, hey, don't judge a book by its cover. That's all BS to me.
I agree. You're not going to pick up the book if it's not catchy.
Yeah.
If that title and that cover is
There's a
not.
hook. There's a yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. There's got to be some aesthetic appeal to that, and it
yeah,
does create an impression. It makes a
absolutely,
statement about what your brand is and how your brand
absolutely,
is positioned.
absolutely. So here's a couple of things I want you to imagine. All right, and I got a couple questions for you as well. So imagine what your business is going to look like when you're the obvious choice in your marketplace. Right? How is that going to transform your brand and the types of clients that you attract? That's number one. But number two, here's a couple questions for you, right? And this is where you really need to spend some time. But what makes your business different from everybody else? What makes your business different than everybody else? And you got to dig deep there, not my experience and no, that's not what I'm talking about. What gets people to buy from you and not your competitors? That's number one. And then how do you do that? How do you differentiate? What do you do that makes you different? And then why should somebody believe that? Those are the big questions. So what makes your biz different from everybody else? How do you do it? And why would somebody believe that? That's your responsibility to communicate. Period. End of story. So as we wrap up, is there anything else there always that, you want to throw in as a bonus, or when it comes to standing out in a crowded industry?
Yeah, I'm going to leave the audience with one question. In a crowded marketplace, can you afford to be overlooked?
There you go. And we will wrap it up there, my friends. So come check us out on every Monday, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, where we put together these live streams for you to help you develop a more polished, a more professional, a brand that is going to help you get more attention and be the obvious choice inside of your marketplace. So we'll see you on Wednesday. Have an amazing day. We'll catch you on the next one real soon. Take care.